Hi folks, welcome back to the Amazing Education Station. And remember, it's about the information that you need to know. It's never about the quality of the video, because I just have my phone. Don't expect amazing video, okay folks? Just to listen to. All right, but it's going to be information that's going to benefit you to have a more peaceful, prosperous, and healthy life. It's not medical advice and not financial advice, because I'm not a doctor and I'm not a financial advisor, but it could benefit your health and your wealth. So is the economy going down the trash? Oh my gosh, yes it is. As stores are closing, people are running out of money. They can't afford these expensive new cars. Car prices growing crazy. The economy's going into the dump. Oh my gosh. Be careful. And you got to be frugal. So this little video cast is going to be about two things: how to save money, and also the risk of heart trouble if you get the vaccines for COVID. So it may be safer if you're a young, healthy person that is not at risk for COVID to skip the boosters. You know, you probably are already vaccinated, but if not, and you're healthy and young and you haven't already gotten COVID, you'll probably be just fine. And but this is not medical advice. I'm not a doctor, but I just heard recently Pfizer says risk of heart inflammation or myocarditis, which is in the heart area, and it would be inflammation or trouble because of getting a vaccine. They might call it a booster, but it's a vaccine. Okay, so chance of having some kind of heart trouble could be as high as 1 out of 1,000 people. And so I have indirect experience. So you might call this hearsay, but you can try to do your own research. So I drive for Lyft and Uber sometimes, and one of my passengers said her mother was mad at her because her cousin got a vaccine, and on the second dose, I think, ended up in the hospital. He was, I believe, 19 years old, and he had heart trouble. And I said, did he get out of the hospital okay already? And her answer was, no, he died. Now, people could have heart trouble on their own. They could have congenital, or in other words, birth defects that they were born with. And maybe the vaccine could irritate that situation, exacerbate, however you want to say it, could bring out the trouble and make it life-threatening. And something about young men, maybe it's because of the strenuous work that often is done by younger men, plus the sports. So apparently the rate of heart trouble with the vaccine and men, and especially even military, maybe 1 out of 50,000 military men had trouble regarding the COVID vaccination, and that would be heart trouble. And so that's a pretty high rate. So you might want to just double check, you know, well, what's the death rate, or you know, chance of heart trouble without the vaccination and getting COVID and so on, and just look at the rates. And it may be more dangerous to be vaccinated than to be not vaccinated. So you gotta look into this, do your research, and certainly, you know, you might lose your job if you're not vaccinated, depending on who you are and where you work. and maybe better for you. You could get a job that doesn't require vaccination. And so now, secondly, by the way, I am not anti. So if you just listened this far and you didn't know anything about my opinions, I got a vaccine. I've had 3 Moderna shots, so I even got the booster. And I'm a teacher, master educator. I work with students, and of course, students, you know, I'm in the same room, and they might be vaccinated, might be not, but so anyway, most educators, we have to be vaccinated. So I took the risk, and I also took it easy. I rested, and I didn't do any strenuous exercise during all of the times that I had the vaccine for several days. And I think the most I did was maybe two days or 3 days later, I went for a swim, but probably not very serious exercise. And frankly, I was in pretty good health, swimming almost every day at different times anyway, so not extremely obese and everything like that. So anyway, I'm just saying, be careful, but I am vaccinated. I'm not completely against vaccines. Another thing is, I know an older person who maybe 2-3 days after getting a booster shot, so the 3rd shot, had serious heart trouble. And however, an older person in their 80s or older could have heart trouble at any time anyway. So, you know, it could be purely coincidence. So you would have to look at statistical studies. And so just consider, you might be careful. And they are right now recommending annual shots, so-called booster shots, just like the flu. And because this is deadlier usually than the flu, if you get it and you're older, you would rather have the flu, I think, than COVID. So you just need to sort of maybe compare the different risks. And what if you know, maybe you live by yourself and you get your food delivered, so you don't have much personal contact, or maybe even you could have a lot of contact with other people in outdoor settings. And so because of that, even if you're in a sort of risky age group, older or unhealthy in some way, then you still might be okay. And the risk to you individually could be low, I'm saying not 100%, if you're very careful. And so I'm not advocating boosters, nor am I advocating don't take boosters. I'm giving information here, okay? So, but you just have to consider that there is a risk to heart and inflammation because of these boosters. And if it's going to be an annual thing, who knows, the risk could add up over time, and it might be much more risky to have boosters every year than to not have boosters. And frankly, I don't know. And what I can hope for is some kind of less dangerous one of these variants. And so there's a Delta variant, and there's a Omicron or something, Omicron. And if we get lucky, there could be a variant that's very much like a common cold, that once somebody gets it, they're not very sick, but they could be incredibly protected. This is all hypothetical, folks, okay? Could be. Please comment, like, and subscribe. Now, how to save money? Well, don't spend much money. That's the part about being frugal. So just don't spend much. You can walk or drive, but it's better to bike or walk to work, to school, and that'll save you tons of money. Don't drive these expensive cars. Don't buy a new car now. It's very expensive. Buy a used bicycle maybe. Okay, thanks folks.